We're diving into a courtroom battle that's anything but ordinary. A grandmother, multiple OWI convictions, and shocking choices that put her own granddaughter in danger. Buckle up, because this case raises the question, when does bad judgment cross the line into criminal recklessness?
We will go on the record in the matter 22 CF 25424 CF 101, State of Wisconsin versus Stephanie Currant. The state appears through Assistant District Attorney Kevin Schmidt in person. We have Stephanie Currant appearing in person in custody with counsel Michelle Erdman. All right, Mr. Schmidt, we will proceed with you with argument and sentencing recommendation.
Thank you. Judge, with this case, we have a 65-year-old woman who has been convicted of OWI 5 or 6 and a couple felony bail jumps. In the instant offense, Stephanie Currant used Xanax and snorted a white powder given to her.
Picture this: Xanax, methamphetamine, and a 2-year-old strapped into the back seat. This isn't just a poor decision, it's a cocktail of chaos. And yet, Stephanie insists she wasn't impaired. But with toxicology levels 3 times the therapeutic range, can denial really rewrite the science?
By a biker friend before getting into a car with her 2-year-old granddaughter and got into a car crash. The blood confirmed the presence of Xanax at 170 nanograms per liter and methamphetamine at 120 nanograms per liter and amphetamine at less than 40 nanograms per liter. The therapeutic range for methamphetamine, according to the clinical lab reference manual, is 20 to 30 nanograms per milliliter, making Stephanie's 3 to 4 times the therapeutic level. Normal dose for aprazolam is supposed to have a 5 to 25 nanogram per milliliter for therapeutic base. That's what the Xanax is, with high-dose aprazolam therapy having a resulting range of 25 to 55, meaning the blood level of the Xanax was also quite high. Currant contends that she didn't cause the crash, and so she can't be blamed. That's the impression I've gotten from the numerous hearings we've had, going all the way back to when Dan Chapman was the attorney, from the comments she's made in the PSI. My take on it is it appears that her main problem with this conviction isn't a disagreement about whether she used the drugs, whether she was driving, anything like that. She believes she was rear-ended due to no fault of her own, that the person behind her was driving poorly. Should be noted, the person behind her indicated she was driving erratically to law enforcement, stopping and starting suddenly without reason. Regardless, getting drawn into the debate of who is at fault is irrelevant to what this offense actually is. That's not an help.
Here's where the law steps in. In Wisconsin, OWI is a strict liability offense. That means it doesn't matter if you felt fine or even if someone else rear-ended you. If the drugs are in your bloodstream, you're guilty. End of story. No loopholes, no excuses.
The point is, her disagreement is that she didn't feel intoxicated. She didn't feel impaired. That's the thing we've been seeing over and over and over in the PSI, in her words to law enforcement at the scene, in court. Reading from her PSI, I get the impression she didn't think a single bit about the danger she was putting her granddaughter in, herself in, the public in, because she didn't think she was impaired. She mixed prescription medication Xanax with unknown white powdery substance from a biker friend, which turned out to be methamphetamine, and she didn't think she was impaired. That's a big problem because that shows a lack of insight. That shows extremely poor coping, especially with the history of substance abuse. That she doesn't see how she's putting all these people in danger. That she doesn't see how she continues to kill herself by doing things like that. How you destroy your own kidneys and liver when you're taking prescription medications, and then biker friend, unknown powdery substance. Why not? When I'm talking about substance abuse, what's important to look at with Ms. Currant, I'm not just talking about alcohol, which has been a problem in the past, or the methamphetamine. I'm talking about the prescription medications. Just because you're getting something legally from a doctor doesn't mean you can't kill yourself or someone else with it if you don't use it responsibly. Judge, I'm actually going to be recommending a higher sentence than what DOC recommends. I'm recommending 4 years initial confinement, 4 years extended supervision on the OWI, and then 3 in, 3 out on the bail jumps concurrent to that.
Ms. Erdman, argument and sentencing recommendation, please.
Your Honor, our request is the mandatory.
Now watch the defense play their card. They push for the minimum sentence. The strategy? Humanize Stephanie as a grieving, lonely grandmother instead of a repeat offender. But will sympathy outweigh the risk she posed with her granddaughter's life?
A minimum of 18 months on the OWI, and then for the felony bail jumps, we would ask for 1 year concurrent on each. Ms. Currant, when I met her, had a pretty strong belief, and a lot of it is true, what the district attorney has stated. So from her perspective, the gentleman that hit her car was someone who was operating without a driver's license and had an accident just a few weeks prior, had totaled out his own car, was actually driving someone else's car. So from her standpoint, this did, precipitate from someone else's behaviors. And I think the thing that we struggled with in coming to some type of a resolution was that there's a strict liability or a mandatory, if you've got something in your system, if there's something in your bloodstream, then you can be found to be guilty regardless of when it got there. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that we needed to overcome. And once I was able to explain that to her, following, I think, the suppression hearing, it was then that she conceded that there was the basis to enter a plea and did so. So prior to that, I think there was kind of a impression in her mind anyway that she hadn't used anything that day, therefore she couldn't have been under the influence, and therefore this was an unwarranted charge. So regardless of how we got there, we're here today. Ms. Currant, I think, is someone who has a history of emotional and mental health that dates back to childhood. She also has a criminal history that, please note that the last OWI was back in 2011, so it is a little bit dated. It's not as though she's someone who's really had just this string of mal-occurrences as of recent. Based on the law as it stands today, Your Honor, she's no longer eligible for a driver's license. And so we don't need to worry about protecting the public in that regard. And so I think the question for the court today, right, is how do we impress upon Ms. Currant that behavior such as this isn't able to be tolerated, and also make sure that we've got the public being protected and addressing any needs she has in terms of rehabilitation. The substance use, I think she is able to avail herself of programming in the community. She's a 65-year-old woman who's not going to have a driver's license any longer. Her very good friend Tim is in the courtroom today. Tim is sober. Tim does not have any criminal history. I think he said maybe a driving ticket, if that, but he's got very good judgment. He's been very supportive all along of her, and I think she does have some good influence in her life. One of the things that I'm not clear if the most recent letter came to Your Honor or not. She pointed out that she's got a granddaughter, a daughter, and that, at her age, they're literally all she's got left. When we met yesterday, it was quite a long conversation about loss, and she had, I think, her parents within a year. That occurred not that long ago, and I think she mentioned maybe seven people had passed away, in a relatively short amount of time. And she basically is viewing herself, her daughter, and her granddaughter is pretty much all she has left. And then she's, of course, got Tim.
Ms. Currant, I am now going to turn to you, and this is your opportunity to provide any statement that you wish to provide to the court. Anything you would like me to consider and to know. You don't have to tell me anything. You don't have to provide a statement, but this is your one and only opportunity to do so. Ms. Erdman, you stated something about some letters or some things. If I received some letters, I didn't receive any letters or any information.
Judge, it was perhaps just directed towards me, and I think we've covered it. So I don't think that there was anything, unless, are you reading to her that letter? Is that what you, okay.
All right, if you're going to read a letter to the court, Ms. Currant, please do so slowly and enunciate your words, because I have a court reporter who needs to take everything down, okay?
Okay.
All right, and please speak very clearly into the microphone.
Do you want to read it or do you want to?
Hi.
You want to?
Oh, there's been a lot said about me today, and obviously I don't see that any of it's true, and makes me sound like I'm out there doing drugs and getting drunk and throwing my granddaughter in the car saying, let's go for a joyride, and that's not how I live my life. I live a quiet life alone with a cat. I don't have company or visitors. Almost all of my friends and family died in 2017. So I've been alone, and I've become accustomed to this. And it's how I prefer to live the remainder of my life. I do have a daughter I'm pretty proud of raising, and a granddaughter I adore. My daughter graduated valedictorian and is now 25, and she started her career in accounting. Her road has had bumps, but I've always been able to insert myself in her life to guide her through. She and her daughter are the only things left of my family. And with my age, I fear I have very little time with them. Taking my granddaughter to the beach on the first day of summer in 2022 was my only goal for that beautiful day. Then someone hit me from behind and totaled my car. It's devastating how in 1 nanosecond, life went from sunshine with a happy little girl to everything being destroyed due to this incident. I lost my home, car, income, and my perfect quiet life I strive so hard to obtain. I don't drink or do drugs, nor do any acquaintances I have, which are few, and people that I do know are not involved with drinking or alcohol. That's not how they manage their life. 2 days prior to this incident, I made the mistake of taking someone else's Adderall. She said it would relieve my pain. Since this was in my system, I'm being accused of driving while intoxicated, and it has ruined me. I don't believe that I was intoxicated that day, or my judgment was impaired. Because this was 2 days prior to that.
Well, then I'm going to stop you. Why did you test positive for methamphetamine?
Because it stays in your blood system, I've heard, for about 30 days, I think.
Test positive. There's amphetamine and methamphetamine. Methamphetamine tested positive.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And I just took this substance.
You know what you were taking?
No, she just said it was for my pain. I'm in chronic pain all the time. My spine isn't real. It's made of titanium all through it, and I have titanium hip, and I have a titanium knee, and I got to get another hip, and it's been a struggle for the last 15 years, but I'm managing. And then that one incident that the district attorney is talking about, when I had morphine and something else in my system, I was prescribed that was prescribed, and a pharmacist went on the stand to tell them what exactly was going on, and I was within my legal limits of my prescription, and I couldn't take the field test because they wanted me to stand up and walk, and I couldn't walk at the time because that was right after my knee surgery, and I couldn't keep my balance. I didn't have my balance then, and I was actually following the ambulance to the hospital because my mother had a stroke. My cousin couldn't drive me because she had treatment that day. She had cancer. And so she had a treatment that day and she couldn't drive me. So I had to drive myself because I wasn't going to let my mother go to the hospital and perhaps die without me being there. So that's what I was doing that night. And I got pulled over because it was a freak storm that we always have. But I answered to that. And I don't see why something I've done since I was 3 years old should pertain to today or to that day 2 years ago. I'm fighting for my life here because I don't believe that I have much time to do that. I don't know where I was at. Taking my granddaughter to the beach. My perfect quiet life that I strive so hard to build. And I don't drink or do drugs, and neither do the people I know or that's involved with my life today. I don't know anybody that goes out there and has a heyday every weekend or every 3 days or whatever. Those are not the people that I surround myself with. I donate blood on a regular basis. I do things for AMVETS. I have a number of charities that I try to help, even though I'm a charity case in itself. This incident is in no way a daily routine or ritual that is part of any of my days, just a singular occurrence. 15 years ago, I made the mistake of intoxicated driving and went to prison for 3 years. Not to minimize this sentence, but I'm only human and mistakes are made. It's about how we as individuals deal with these mistakes that matter. I have not been in trouble for 15 years because I refuse to let that behavior reoccur. So I've made changes. Now I don't know what to do except reestablish my roots, regain control of my life, and it's achievable, but not from a jail cell. I'm 65 years old, not 20, 30, or 40, and I have no family that I can fall back on. And I just live a very different lifestyle than I did 15 years ago. I've worked hard for my life, and I want my quiet life back. I lost my husband 3 years ago, and I've had several spinal surgeries. And now I need another hip. I've been in jail since last January, living in agony with a dislocated hip and not even being placed in a handicapped cell, even though they are available. It's been difficult to say the least, and especially when I think of how this all started one sunny summer day at the beach 2.5 years ago. I'm asking that you take these things into consideration when making your decision. I have a granddaughter that I want to watch grow while I still can. I have medical needs that I need taken care of, and I made a mistake, but I don't believe this mistake should take me away from enjoying the rest of my time left on earth. Thank you for your time.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I've been doing this job for quite a bit. I've been on this chair for almost 8 years. And when science is, when you hear about science and they detect methamphetamine in a system, not amphetamine, and the lab analyst goes and does their spiel and talks about what they detect in blood, and they say that they've found methamphetamine, that means that there was methamphetamine in that white substance that you snorted, not just the Adderall and not just that the amphetamine substance in there. So there was methamphetamine in that white substance that you...
And here it is, the devastating hammer drop. The judge confirms The mystery white powder wasn't just Adderall, it was methamphetamine. Think about it, snorting an unknown substance from a biker buddy while driving a toddler. This isn't just a mistake, it's a tragedy narrowly avoided.
You snorted.
I didn't.
All right?
I wasn't aware.
I know you weren't aware, and that's what makes it completely dangerous. That is completely so unbelievably dangerous. And that's why Mr. Schmidt is so spot on in his argument where he says, you have a lack of insight in the danger that you could cause not only to yourself, but to others and to your poor little 2-year-old at the time granddaughter. You are a danger in the fact that you snorted a white substance that you had no clue of what it was. No clue. It contained a bunch of things that you had no idea of what it was, one of which was methamphetamine, which was detected in your blood draw. All right? So this is a serious case, Miss Currant. This is a very serious matter. You are here in front of the court for a serious sentencing. You operated a motor vehicle while having restricted controlled substances, not only medications that you were saying that you were prescribed, all right? Restricted controlled substances within your bloodstream, within your system, while you operated a motor vehicle with a 2-year-old child in that vehicle who could have been injured or killed, all right? Who could have been injured or killed. Very serious. And this is, you have been convicted now of a sixth offense. And this doesn't even consider that Washburn County matter with that morphine, because that doesn't even come into play. All right. I won't even get into that of whether or not you were prescribed that, whether or not you legally took that morphine, or whether or not you should have been convicted or not. But I will go and I will address a statement that you made. You are so oblivious. You are so oblivious to life and to safety and to the world. And I'm going to tell you, because you said, I'm prescribed these medications. I can take these medications. I'm prescribed these medications. You sure may be prescribed these medications. It doesn't make it safe to drive while you take these medications. Do you know that they have these little things on medications that say, hey, don't drive, don't operate heavy equipment, don't do these certain things because you could kill somebody. All right? That's what they say. Don't do these things because you could kill somebody. So the fact that you were prescribed morphine in Washburn, and I don't know what happened in that case because that's not here. If you're prescribed Xanax, you can't drive. You can't drive. You're not supposed to drive. It's not safe. If you snort Adderall that has methamphetamine in it and other substances that you don't know what's in it, you can't drive. You're gonna kill somebody, including your 2-year-old daughter or granddaughter. It's not safe. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not that guy's fault who rear-ended you. It's not his fault. 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 You have to understand, it's not his fault. You snorted the substance. You got behind the wheel. You drove the car with your 2-year-old granddaughter in the car. You got into an accident. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's 100% your fault. You caused all of it. It's your fault. The law is quite honestly very clear. You cannot get behind a wheel. You lack insight of how your conduct and behavior affects others, of how it even affects you. You took a substance